CBDCs are the talk of the town, especially at Davos this year. Gold and silver may actually stop being monetary metals and real money. While gold and silver have endured throughout time, the CBDCs could potentially end that. Yesterday, I posted a video about Canada finally selling off its remaining gold, a process which actually was a part of their physical plan since early 2000. While I shared that this was a nothing burger, I did raise an issue which was far more concerning to me. And it was around Canada partnering with MIT to do a 12-month study around central digital bank currencies. Yeah, they're doing a 12-month study with MIT around central bank digital currencies. And while that isn't all that shocking, when I started to connect the dots, I had more questions than answers. And really around our prevailing thesis that during the quote-unquote Great Reset, governments were going to use gold to back their currencies as a way to instill confidence in the new currency. Go ahead and take a look at the screen as I have some articles, and I want to just pull out a few key points here. That while there is plenty of talk about central bank digital currencies, there was also a lot of bashing of Bitcoin. But she said central bank digital currencies supported by governments can in fact be stable. Now, isn't that ironic? The cryptocurrency is not backed by anything and it's a pyramid scheme, but the central bank digital currencies just supported by governments are stable. Let's continue. Well, typically in my videos, we take on a topic, I share data, research, and I give you my take on a particular topic. Today, I'm going to ask you to participate in a thought exercise with me, as I'm not 100% sure or even solid in my stance, nor do I know what to make of what we're seeing. For this video, I really need you all to chime in and share your thoughts in the comments. I think the real value is going to be in us engaging in a discussion as a community, as the path forward is not clear. And while I have faith, I also do not have clear vision as to how this plays itself out. Instead, I have lots of questions. And instead of covering all the loss of freedom and control topics which have been thoroughly discussed on YouTube, I'd like for us to take a slightly different approach. With that, let's talk about it. I think we all would agree that central bank digital currency is the direction our banks and governments would like to take us. That clearly seems to be part of their master plan, or at least the plan of those power players that live in the shadows, the Illuminati types. If this is all a part of their master plan, Canada selling this remaining gold could only mean the new digital currencies won't be backed with anything more than faith and the value that Canadians or Americans place in that particular currency. Canada has basically shown their hand and declared that their digital currency will not be backed by any tangible asset, which raises my first question. We've all heard chatter about Russia and China maybe doing some gold and or commodity-backed currency. Is there any way in the world that those countries or the other 97 central banks are going to peg their currency to something tangible and allow Canada to get a free pass? If the answer is no, didn't Canada effectively bankrupt itself by following through on their plan? I just can't wrap my head around this idea. One would think that given the world's economy and the potential for multiple collapses, banks and governments would at least pretend for some period of time to base our money off of gold and silver. Granted, it might be short-lived, but aren't they at least gonna try and pretend? Heck, Lucy at least used to show Charlie Brown the football to make him believe he had a chance of kicking it. Here's my next question. If our currencies are basically going to be zeros and ones on a computer, which will effectively allow governments to do whatever they want, what and where are the checks and balances? At that point, aren't they just creating currency that is just akin to monopoly money? Meaning that the only value it has is because we all agree it has value? Isn't it bad enough that our current fractional banking system essentially allows banks to create money out of thin air? Can you imagine what they will do if money is just a bunch of ones and zeros? For thousands of years, gold and silver have withstood the test of time. But if currencies are digital and controlled by governments and banks, where do gold and silver fit into all of this? I mean, at least silver has industrial uses which account for more than 70% of its demand. Couldn't one argue very easily that silver would be more equipped to weather this storm or this new environment, so to speak? So where would this put gold in terms of its value? I understand what gold has been, but in a digital world, where does gold fit in? Or will gold be quote unquote antique, like the former head of the Bank of Canada said in his Kitco interview? Is that why Canada was so confident about dumping its gold? If gold isn't a part of this plan, why did central banks spend the last decade accumulating gold if they weren't going to use it as the basis for digital currencies? My best guess has always been that they were going to use gold as a foundation for the currency, and those reserves would be the basis for the new fractional banking system. Essentially what I would call same suit, different necktie. It would be the dollar pretending that it's something different by wearing the same suit and only changing the necktie. Instead of it being physical dollars, it would just be digital. My next question, wouldn't this mean the end of the banks? I mean, if governments could simply control the movement of money, why would they need banks at all? If your money lived on a card and it's all digital, why do I need to go to Bank of America? Another issue that I'm wrestling with is if money is ones and zeros and gold is not a part of that system, and the digital currencies basically create a closed loop system, what does that mean for wealth held outside of the current system? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not all doom and gloom, as I imagine that there will be some form of a transition and we will be able to see some of this coming, but I do find some of this interesting. And there was an article about the SWIFT payment system, and there's a quote here that I want to share that this would mean that CBDCs could coexist with traditional fiat currencies used in the SWIFT system in a transitional phase to total digitalization. So again, more questions. Transition phase? How long is this phase? I digress. All right, seriously, folks, I don't want you to knee-jerk your response or respond emotionally because of our deep faith and love for precious metals, especially gold and silver. I mean, really think about this. Could this mean that we are potentially holding something that has historically had value that may be eliminated because of technology? Don't get me wrong. I'm not wavering in my commitment to gold and silver and the importance that it has. But the issue of governments being able to centralize their control over us, to dictate behavior, to weaponize it against those that resist their policies, and controlling all aspects of our spending are all very real issues. But I can't help but feel like the questions I pose are equally, if not more, concerning. Like I said, I really need you all to share your thoughts in the comments section. Let's see if we can get one comment per viewer. That would absolutely blow my mind. In the comments section, answer any of the questions that I pose or pose your own question. If you can't think of anything, give yourself an A+ or whatever you think you deserve, because no matter what, you'll always be an A+ student in my eyes for seeing this video all the way through. Don't forget, your goal for today is to make sure you tell someone that you love them. Always stack smarter and never stop learning.